You've talked about skill set, which is very good. What about the tool? If we look at it today, you mentioned being a data engineer is also about what we call to be a developer. So for a developer, its best tool would be its IDE, right? So
Of course.
the thing they love a lot. But what are the kind of tools you would recognize for data engineer?
Yeah, so as I said, data engineering doesn't differ that much. It's not different much from software engineering these days. So many of the data engineering we can do these days, we use IDEs like Visual Studio Code. Sometimes you're gonna need to have some kind of extensions or plugins that would enable you to work with your kind of a data engineering platform, right? Which is what we can think about something like another tool, but it's like the engine, right? The infrastructure for data engineering. And now I think these days the most common thing is Apache Spark. It's kind of a something that is rooted in MapReduce concept to make processing parallelized. It's still having a Hadoop file system underneath, but it's so much more easy to work with. It's very easy to code, especially because we have a whole layers of APIs and SDKs that you can work with. So, for example, Spark gives us the API of data frame, which is the basic concept about how we think about moving data. Data frame is something like a table for a database. So we have a data frame in the Spark or Pandas where we are thinking about moving data around. And Spark itself is just an engine, and then it's wrapped around. And we have another platforms that embed Spark, but give you even more user interface functionalities and improve your developer experience. Things like Databricks, signups. AWS has its own like a database that you set on top of your data lake, right? So data lake is the files. That's why data lake is good, because it's files, so it's cheap. But you still want that SQL endpoint to be able to access the data, right? So then on top of that, you put Athena that exposes the SQL endpoints that allow users or tools to interact with data using SQL. But Spark these days is, of course, the most popular thing. Of course, every database engine can also be used for that. Then we have all of those things on top, like Apache Beam, which is another layer of abstraction, right? So it's something that is another concept that you code your transformations, and then you can run those transformations in Spark and a few other engines, right? So it's another layer of abstraction that gives you more maneuverability about which technology you use. And of course, something that, for example, Google is trying to advertise around themselves is they prevent you from vendor lock-in, right? They give you this, you code everything in this abstraction layer, and then actually you can run it everywhere on your premises or in some other cloud. So yeah, we have also some very popular another kind of a platform like Snowflake. It's just very similar to Spark, but again, you always write a code in Python to design the transformations, and then, for example, Spark, Snowflake, or whatever else is running those transformations. We use other tools, for example, for orchestration. So usually like things like Databricks and signups come with their own orchestration tools. They are usually very similar to what we know as Apache Airflow. So it's more like how about designing how your processes trigger one after another. And of course, every cloud provider gives you the whole ecosystem of data engineering tools and data management tools, like various types of databases. And on top of that, they always try to bring now some sort of data governance tool also that allows you to understand and connect those things together. AWS calls it Glue. We have Purview from Azure and Duplex, Simplex, something like that in Google. Yeah, but usually it's either developing using a dedicated environment, like for example in Synapse, you just open a web-based experience called Synapse Studio, or you rather develop code using your IDE of choice that has some kind of extensions that allow you to interact with your solution that you are building based on. And of course, on top of that, we have something to manage the backlog, repositories, everything, all the usual suspects of regular software engineering.
Okay, that's